Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Seven Living with the Planets. I'm Lucy Baldwin, and this show is all about planetary magic and working with the planetary archetypes. So I'm excited to dive in today. We're talking specifically about Saturn. This episode is especially for you if you feel like you struggle with getting things done, if you feel like you're constantly giving yourself a hard time about how you spend your time, if you feel stressed, overwhelmed, if you struggle to make decisions, if you struggle with boundaries, all of this is in the domain of Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of time. Saturn is Chronos. Saturn is time. And so today, I just want to talk about, well, I think I'm going to maybe try to hopefully compel you to maybe give a little offering to Saturn, have a little moment of gratitude for Saturn, just connect with Saturn a little bit because Saturn can bring so much goodness into your life. And I especially want to address, I feel like a lot of people who are kind of in the know with planetary magic, or just the planetary archetypes in general, are often a little bit standoffish with Saturn and a little bit nervous, sometimes even scared to work with Saturn. And I think part of the reason why Saturn has a bad reputation is because time is always associated with death, and death is something that we are our culture is terrified. We are very um fearful of and cagey. We are cagey as heck about death. And, it's sad when we lose people. It's sad when things change, and that especially things that we liked. Um, but change is inevitable. And in this way, it is through embracing change and embracing the truth of death, acknowledging it, that we find a lot of peace, just a ton of peace, and coming to terms with our own sort of like short lifespan is, I think, one of the most powerful things that we can do for ourselves in terms of giving ourselves the best life that we can have. And this is also kind of a larger metaphor for what I'm going to talk about here with Saturn, because a lot of people talk about Saturn as though Saturn is kind of this like punisher, or Saturn is going to, like, they're afraid that Saturn is going to come with consequences. And it's kind of like how when you resist things, they expand. um, because through resistance, through the actual effort of resisting things, we're actually putting a lot of like pressure and tension into something, which makes it stronger, which gives it more power over us, which makes it that much harder for ourselves. Um, Rather than when we just can find it within ourselves to accept things and just sort of like be in the flow of things and surrendered to the truths that we can't deny, like the things that are just true. Byron Katie calls it loving what is. I love that so much. She has a whole book called Loving What Is, and I think it's a beautiful book. But the idea is so simple. It's like we're just owning the truths of reality. And the thing is with Saturn that if you resist, um, it will get harder. And that's why I think it's extra important, especially important to work with Saturn, because when we're in resistance to things that are and must be the sort of, let's call them non negotiables of life, like death, um, they take they take from us. I mean, it's really us taking from ourselves in the form of this resistance, which is, it's like we're creating a deficit for ourselves with this resistance. And so the idea is that by working with Saturn, we're taking ownership. We're choosing to have a conscious connection with these things. And we're accepting that, yes, of course, if we're fighting and grinding against things that are true, we're kind of in this like 4D reality that is very much imposed on us. and we can argue about whether it's consensual or not that we're even here existing. um, I kind of think we choose to come into these lives, but, uh, you know, this 4D structure that holds everything together can be very harsh, and being in these bodies with such sensitive nervous systems. I mean, to a large degree, sometimes I just really think like, wow, I'm really at the whim of my nervous system. I actually was cleaning my house yesterday, and I walked into actually my Saturn altar. This is funny. I walked into my Saturn altar really hard. I kind of do that. I kind of like bump around, and my husband always makes fun of me because I'm always walking into things and I always get bruises. And especially when I was a waitress, I would walk. There were these walls that were like, you know, chest height, and I just walk into them. I just kind of like blunder around my house and very spatially unaware. So I walked into my Saturn altar right here with my arm. I don't even know how I did it, with a lot of momentum, and it hurt really bad. And it got me really deep. It was like my whole hand was hurting. And I ha started crying uncontrollably. Actually, first I snapped at my husband because he tried to comfort me, and I was just completely, um, like, I don't know the word. I was just so over, like, stimulated, and I was kind of like, "Go away, I can't deal with this right now," and then I just started crying. And I couldn't stop. I wasn't upset. I wasn't upset. I was just crying uncontrollably for like 5 minutes. And my toddler started crying. She was freaked out about it. And I realized, wow, I am so at the mercy of my nervous system. Um, and that's kind of what it is like to be in this 4D reality. And I feel like Saturn just gave me a big slap on the arm and reminded me that, you know, and yeah, so that can happen. It doesn't happen often. I feel like I'm not saying Saturn's gonna hurt you. Um, but we're in this 4D reality. We're in these bodies with these very sensitive nervous systems, and it's all very intense. And if we try to resist the truth of that, it's just it makes it so much harder. And by claiming it, by uh coming into relationship with Saturn and time and space as an ally, like choosing to take it on as an ally is so immensely helpful. It really helps because it's like the inclination is to resist, and I get that because it's uncomfortable, and, it's kinda one of those things, though, where we resist it, and it's just so much energy is going into resist it, but as soon as we kind of just, like, relax and let go and just let ourselves receive it, we feel so much better, and, you know, I think that this is why I love Saturn so much, I love working with Saturn, because I struggle the most, I think sometimes. I shouldn't say that. I'm not, like, comparing myself, but, um, I spend a lot of time talking about Saturn and Saturn magic, and I think people assume that it's because I'm, like, really, good at managing my time, and I have gotten good at it, and I'm really good at doing all these things, and I have sort of acquired some of those skills through working with Saturn, but I can tell you that I needed Saturn more than anyone else. Like, I before starting to work with Saturn was the most, like, disoriented, like, just disorganized. I have the attention span of, like, a butterfly or a hummingbird, or I don't know, whatever animal it is that fritters about, and, um, just could not do anything with discipline, just really so lacked discipline, and would get into these sort of like Mars things where I could be really intense about stuff and push really hard and get really uncomfortable and just like grind. And then I would just crash. Also because I'm a projector and that it's just not sustainable for me to do that. So, what I love about Saturn is it's all about acknowledging our limitations and setting ourselves up for success within that. So um, it's like we're taking an honest view of ourselves and the potentials that are available to us in our lives. And when we're working with Saturn, Saturn is associated with limitations. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be limited. And my whole thing is like, okay, but what am I capable of? Like, what is my maximum possibility? What is the most exciting life I could lead? What is the most expansive life? What is the most fun? What is the most love and connection filled life? You can kind of pick your priorities and think about not, oh, I'm limited, but what am I capable of? What are our true limitations? Like most of us are not reaching those, because your limitation could be like, oh, I can't do that. Or it could be like, how far can I get? How far can I take this? Um, and but doing that over a lifetime, like that's our lifetime is how do I set myself up to reach the beautiful, well balanced life that I want, um, in a way that feels good and is doable because it's not about having a goal and just going for that goal single-mindedly. That would be Mars. Saturn is like, "No, no, babe, you gotta eat. You gotta sleep. You gotta rest. You gotta take care of your kids." Like, I in looking at in working with Saturn, those limitations are actually what keeps us, like, together. It's what keeps us sustaining and able to sustain, and that's what makes us able to reach those possibilities for ourselves because we're doing it over time and we're acknowledging that it takes time and that that's okay because we're trusting the rhythm of our existence and our self. And I love the analogy of dancing. I mean, dancing is something that you do in time to music. And that's what Saturn's all about, finding the rhythm of yourself and operating according to that. And your life is the dance. And you want to dance to the rhythm. You don't want to be just like, I mean, you can, but it can be very uncomfortable to try to dance out of sync with the timing. And, that's what ends up happening when we kind of ignore the music, you know? So, this is what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that claiming, claiming our limitations, claiming time, just acknowledging and accepting and taking space time, a super far out, trippy, and weird concept that is our everyday existence, all the time existence, as our ally. Like, imagine what you can do with space-time as an ally, it's incredible, and it helps us frame things in ways that are supportive to us, and it's about, um, getting out of this mindset of productivity and go, 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 and then, the other side of that too, equally as imbalanced is, we can get stuck in fantasy and inaction and not ever actually doing the things. And Saturn is bringing it together. And it's actually interesting because I'm talking about the feminine and the masculine here. In a lot of ways, the masculine is going out and getting, going out and doing, and the feminine is receiving and kind of like setting yourself and receiving and making beauty and being and like love and connection and all of that wonderful stuff. And Saturn is the full, I mean, it's a full yin yang. It's both. It's yin and yang together. And I always say Saturn is the seed and the womb. So Saturn is masculine and feminine. And so I'm talking a lot about Saturn. And I do want to just say that, you don't have to do anything special to work with Saturn and start to take this on as your ally. You can just make offerings to Saturn and see what starts to come through. You can just call in Saturn. You can go online. You could Google like um, Orphic hymn to Saturn, and you can light a candle and read the hymn and call Saturn in and just connect with Saturn. You can make an offering to Saturn. Maybe the offering is that you're going to show up for yourself in a certain way, whatever it is. Um, you can also take my Saturn course, which I am offering a live round of that course. And if you're watching this in the future, you can buy my Saturn course at any time. And as soon as you get access to the course, you'll also get access to our Telegram group where you can chat with everybody who's been in the course and me, of course. It's a lot of the word course. So, yeah, definitely if you're feeling like you want this kind of help in your life, um, the free version is to go out and connect with Saturn. You have that capacity, you have the ability, and I strongly encourage you to do that. And if you want to really commit to it and you want to hear a lot more about Saturn and get some ideas of working with Saturn, and I'm going to be talking about some amazing books and sort of sharing their wisdom in terms of how to structure our lives and really like um, live in the way that is in harmony for ourselves. My Saturn course is called Melt, and it's all about structure that lets you relax and surrender. The whole idea is that you are able to melt, you are able to relax, you are able to be at peace when you structure your life in a way that makes sense for you, in a way that you know that you're taking care of yourself. And going back to what I said at the beginning, yeah, if you're not doing that, then Saturn might show you, it might kind of nudge you along. And that's good. We want that. That's good information. We want to be shown where our opportunities are because being aware of our opportunities is how we grow. It's how we make things better. So that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching and listening to my podcast. Um, I will have a new episode every Thursday, and I look forward to seeing you there. Also, I have a free membership it's an online community. It's called Inner Circle, and you can join by clicking the link in the description. And yeah, I do a ritual every month and also connection game calls, and it's completely free. And I would love to have you. It's a really great time. And yeah, you should definitely check it out. Thank you so much for watching.